So have you ever struggled with either helping your clients come up with goals or helping them stay consistent to actually hit them? Have you actually struggled with doing that yourself? If so, today's workshop is for you. And what I want to start off with is telling you that it's not your fault. Here's the thing. Sometimes we have one tool that we use and we think everybody has to use that one specific tool, only to find out that there's many other tools that actually might work even better. And where we're willing to constantly grow, to learn, to really like teach, not teach, but learn the lessons that every single one of these things is trying to teach us, we can learn how to not only set goals, but hit them even better. And when we do that, we actually get to give that gift to our clients, to our kids, to those people that we lead. And that's what we're going to do for you guys here today. We're going to share a strategy that not only will help you keep it more simple, but it'll help you and your clients stay out of the whirlwind. Yes, we're going to talk about that today. So if you're ready to dive in, you're ready to learn a new way of setting goals to make it a little bit more simple, but also make it so that you can take massive action towards your goals, well, let's go. So guys, welcome to Modern Leadership Coaching, where this is all about helping you elevate your coaching confidence and skills to the next level so you can help yourself and others by making a huge impact in the world and producing more income than you ever have. And we're going to help you crush it in 2025. Now, for those of you guys who know, this is the last YouTube Live that we're going to be doing as we're diving completely into what we call the Coach Accelerator, which I'll talk to you guys in a minute. I know a lot of you guys are already part of that group, and we did a goal setting session in there where we got to dive deeply into the topics we're going to talk about today. But today what we're going to do is we're really going to listen or think about the universal principles that we all need so that we can actually hit our goals, especially if we've struggled with doing that in the past. Especially if we've tried ways of doing it and it hasn't worked before. I want you to come up with a different way of doing that because it's 100% possible for you if you're willing to challenge the fact that you haven't succeeded in the past. You're willing to challenge the way that you currently do it and find a new way to lean in. And that's what we're doing today. So guys, welcome to the call. I know we have a lot of beautiful, amazing people that are here. Aaron is here. Kurt is here. When I said beautiful, I was thinking about you, Kurt. Marie is here. Mike, what's going on, my brother? Of course, we got Tina. We got Kylie. Kylie, what's up, my friend? I love those brand colors, by the way. Cynthia's here. Cynthia's driving. I didn't know people drove in New York. I thought all they did was travel the subway. I don't know. I have to talk to Kurt about that. Julie, what's up, my friend? What is up? Okay, guys. So we are going to talk to you guys a little bit later about our Coach Accelerator program. But right now, we want to dive right into how to, like, the universal principles that we all need to lean into to not only set goals, but set goals in a way that actually helps us hit them. Now, inside of our program, what we did is we took people through this process. It is a 4-step process. We're going to go through it really quickly here today. But we actually gave them a framework to follow so that they can actually have like a PDF to be able to share with their clients to be able to guide them through this process. Now, if that's something you're interested in, we'll talk about it a little bit later. But we really want to hit on like the most important pieces today to make sure that you have the puzzles going together and you're not like trying to fit a piece of the puzzle into the wrong stage or the wrong place in the actual puzzle itself. All right. Because there's multiple different ways of doing it. You got to find the way that works for you and for your clients. So we're going to start off in these 4 pieces. I'm going to start off, or actually I'll let Teresa finally have a word here. How you doing, beautiful? I really like your shirt, by the way. Oh, thanks. It really pops. But she's going to start off with part number 1 of this 4-part system today. So I want to make sure you're taking notes. I also want to make sure that as you go, I want to hear what speaks loudest to you in the comment section, because we want you to really grab onto these and use these and implement these, not only when you set goals for yourself, but also when you set goals for your clients. All right. So welcome. Hi. Welcome to your show.
Thanks.
All right. You want to dive into part number 1?
Yeah. Actually, before we dive into that, I do want to go back to something that you said, because I think it's really key. And it doesn't matter if you haven't hit your goals before. So I don't want you to think about the past. I don't want you to think about like what you haven't actually achieved. I want you to think about this as a blank slate. It doesn't matter. Let's just keep moving forward. Okay. So first, starting off is really having that vision about what you want your life and your business to look like, because we want to think about the end in mind, to begin with the end in mind. And we say business and life because we on this channel, and everything that we do, it revolves around this like well-rounded life, right? Where it's not just about business, it's about how business and life actually complement each other. So when you're actually thinking about this big picture or about the end, I want you to think about this in terms of both your business and your life. What does your life, or how is your life going to look like 5 years from now? And I want you to really think about, because this is something that pops in when we're constantly setting goals and we kind of feel jaded about it, because our subconscious starts to come in and starts to, really play games with us. And we start to think about like all the different reasons why we can't get to that vision. And I want you to think about it this way. I want you to think about how you are seeing the big picture, but not like how you're going to get there. Because this is just about thinking about what you really want. What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? And we have done this before, because if we don't do it this way, we kind of like really think small, and we think about like, well, you start to think about like, can I get there? And start, thinking like, is this realistic? And once you start to, once that starts to seep in, then you start to think about, well, realistically, I can get to this. And then you start living small. So what we usually do, and what we've done for ourselves and for our clients, is really digging into some of these specific questions that we ask to really get to what you want and not what you don't want. Right?
Yeah, that's so key. That's so key. And like when you were talking there, what really stuck out to me, when you think about visioning, the steps to get there have to not be a part of that equation. Or what that will do is it will filter like what your actual vision, where you want to end and where you want your like results to be, right? And so as you're helping yourself and as you're helping your clients, you have to do whatever you can to make sure that there's no filters that they have there, that it's completely based off of what they truly want. And the further that we go out, usually the more that they could make sure that they're staying out of the whirlwind, out of their brain, and they're more into visioning of what they want that to come or want to be, right? But when they start talking about the plan or the steps, you need to stop them, because this is not the part of steps. This is the part of dreaming. It's opening your eyes. We taught inside of our program this very specific way of doing it. It's called compelling images. Okay. Compelling images. And we asked our team to hit on 3 very specific areas when it comes to compelling images, but you got to find your way of doing it, right? For us, it's the images that we're running towards. Now, Teresa said something very important there at the end. And that is like, when we find that we have the most success and our clients have the most success, it's when we're running towards something that we want, not away from something that we don't. So sometimes when we run away from something that we don't, it can give us excitement and fuel in that moment to get us to go, I'm never going to be here again. But that only helps if you're running towards an image of what you want. All right. So when you're talking to your clients and when you're setting them up, of course, you can follow the blueprint that we have in the Coach Accelerator. But if you don't have that, I want you to make sure that you're like, I want to make sure my clients and me are running towards what we want. And anything that comes up along the way, I have to help remove that from the puzzle right now, because that's not a part of putting together goals. It's beginning with the end in mind. Sorry. It's beginning with the end in mind. So that is always step 1, is finding a way of asking your client those questions, those strategies, like however it is that you do it, using compelling images like we taught, like whatever that is, to help them see what that beautiful, amazing life is going to be like, what it's going to feel like, and you're going to get them to experience it now.
Yeah, and it creates a lot of excitement. Because think about it, when you are setting up goals and you do think about that vision, it gets you it drives you to want to go towards that vision, right? And then, then we start to get into, the steps, and is this realistic and things like that. But when you first picture that vision, there's this feeling, and I think it's really important to capture that feeling and to stay with it.
Yep, 100%. One of the things that, so we had our call on Saturday with the Accelerator, and we took them through this process. And one of the things, I saw it on 3 people's faces while we were doing it, but I got messages afterwards. And they were like, it was so amazing to go there. Like, I feel and felt like I was already there. Guys, the truth is when you help a client vision, they can already feel experience and have that energy in their body right now, you don't have to wait until it happens. If you do it right, sometimes the vacation, thinking about the vacation is even better than the vacation.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it right, like you have to wait until you get there to feel that way. That's why your clients are kind of struggling right now, because they're not feeling that. So find a way to begin with the end in mind. And then the second piece is always reminding them of that end, right? And reminding them how they're going to feel. And the more that you can help them visualize that, the better. So step one, begin with the end in mind. Find a way of identifying what it is that you truly want or they truly want and going there and staying there for a little bit and being willing to dream without filtering it, right? That's step number one when it comes to setting goals. Step number two is, now that you have that, you have to start setting meaningful and measurable goals with a timeline attached so that you know what you can adjust and evolve along the way. Now, for us, one of the things that we teach is 5 years out there is really good because it can get your brain out of the mix and it just gets you to tap into your creativity and what you truly want. But then we have to start reverse engineering it into what it's going to take to get there. We like to think about it in 3-month increments, not a year, in 3 months. We like to think about 3 months from now. What are some of the measurable goals, what's a measurable goal that you want to be able to achieve in the next 3 months that will have you running towards the images that most feel compelling to you? And when you think about that, you can think about a very specific goal. Now, we only we think about like one goal in our business and one goal in our personal life, but we like to think about things as simple as possible so that you don't have a million goals and a million different activities to take. All right. So we like to think about, what is that measurable goal that you could hit in 3 months that will have you running towards your images instead of running away. Now, I want to give you some ideas of some potential goals that you could have and you could set, but it has to do with where you are. That's why when we created the worksheet, is because we have questions that we need to ask to find out where you are, because you could be somebody who's further along or not so far along, but you still got to use the same principles. So let me give you some ideas, all right? So a good structure for this is from X to Y by Z, okay? From X to Y by Z. So if you have a business and you're running a business and you're like, I want to go from $10,000 months to $15,000 months by March 1st, 2025. Now you have a goal and you're like, that is me running towards the images that I most want, right? What if you don't have a business that's making money? Well, what if you said, I want to make $5,000 by January 31st, 2025. Now, I said 3 months, and we can make it between 3 months, 2 months, a month, depending on where you are, but it has to be a goal that's very specific to you and what you want. Now, I kind of talked about income, but we have impact goals too. I want to help coach 5 clients and have them sign up to actually be a part of my programs by March 31st, 2025. Now, here's one thing that I want to make sure that everybody captures, all right? Every goal is different. This is something we spend a lot of time with on the Accelerator call, because some people have a goal to make money, and some people right now have a goal just to become a coach. So there's a lot of people who are following us right now who are coaches. They're master coaches, and they want to keep developing themselves. But there's a lot of people who are either just starting out, or they've been coaches for a long time, and they've been trying to sell a program and product that they don't even believe that they're a coach, that they can't sell. So here's the thing, is when you first get started, sometimes the best move for you is to just find 5 to 6 clients who are going to be free clients for 6 weeks, that you're going to be able to get testimonials from them so that you can really, truly believe that what you do is life-changing, but that you're also a coach. How hard is it if you're trying to sell something and nobody's buying anything to believe you're a coach? It can be super hard. Think about what it would look like for the first 6 weeks of the year. If you have 6 clients and you're coaching them weekly, what is that? 6 times 6, 36 coaching sessions. How confident do you think you're going to be after that you're a coach, that you know what you're doing, that you're not going to mess it up, and that you feel confident that you can actually help people get through that process? The answer is you're going to be a whole lot more confident than you are today. But see, what happens is we start to think about like, oh, well, everybody else is charging or everybody else is doing this, and that is irrelevant to your equation, my friends. We as coaches, we have to meet our clients where they are. And if you're like, I'm going to find 5 clients and they're going to pay me by giving me a testimonial. But here's the truth, by the way, guys, finding 5 free clients is not easy either. You still have to sell coaching. You have to sell them into taking action. You don't want somebody to just come to the call and not do anything, right? And so, but a part of that process is you learning and growing. I know one of the things with the people in the accelerator, they're like, Marc, can we have a call where we come in and we ask you questions about the people that we're like taking through this process? And I'm like, 100%, because how much more confidence are you going to have knowing that you can struggle through a session and then bring it to us and us be able to help walk you through it so that, you know, next time you won't have to struggle through that. That's a part of the process. But when you start to really believe that what you have and what you do is coach and you can make an impact in people's lives, you're going to feel like, why am I not charging for this? In the beginning, though, it could be a little scary. And maybe you can start off with free clients. Maybe you start off with $50 a session. I don't know. It's always up to you and where you are in your business and what that next step looks like to you. You've heard me say it already in this, and I'm going to say it every single one of our calls moving forward, is there is never one right, best, only way to do anything. Anytime you as a coach tries to convince your client there's only one way to do things, you're setting them up for failure. But anytime that you believe there's one right, best, only way to do something, you're also setting yourself up for failure because there's multiple different ways of using it. There's multiple different things. There's your strengths, there's your weaknesses, your personality, and you need to find what's right for you. I know I'm spending a lot of time here, and it's because it's important. I don't want your clients to have goals because you told them to have a specific goal or they've seen somebody else on social media having those goals. No, we have to think about what they want, where they are right now, and what is moving closer towards their images. That 3 months in the bleep of 5 years, 3 months is not going to be much. But when you have those 3 months, you're going to learn so much through that process that is going to teach you what to pivot on, what to make adjustments on, and where to go from there. If you don't do something different, you're not going to have anything different. And that's why we have to think about, especially when we're setting goals, what is something different that I can do? I know Marie had commented here like, hey, we're starting off with a blank slate. And that is good if that makes you feel good. But remember, I don't know about you guys, I have 47 years worth of experience in my life. I don't want to forget all that because I start a new year. I want to bring the best of everything that I've ever learned, what hasn't worked, and I want to create a different plan for the new year that is entirely different because I don't want to keep getting the same thing. So don't forget about all that past experience, both the good and the bad, because you get to bring all of that with you into the next year if you remind yourself you have it and if you're willing to do things different. Otherwise, 3 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, this vision is not going to be you're not going to be any more close to it because you're going to be unwilling to do things differently. And I know that's not you, or you wouldn't be here on this call, right? That's why step number 2 is find out a meaningful and measurable. Meaningful means this is very meaningful. It's heading me in the direction of what I want. Measurable means I know whether or not I hit it or not. And it has to be a goal that has a timeline on it so that it's not just a random, hey, I want to do this in the next year or the next couple of years. Even if we set a yearly goal, we want to come back and set a quarterly goal or at least 3 months, because otherwise we're not going to do anything until we get to like October or November. And it's going to be too late for us to be able to do that, right? We build up now so that we can create massive success, right? That's why step number 2 is a measurable and meaningful goal with a timeline. All right. I don't think I breathed for a second on that one. I get a little bit passionate about that because I hear a lot of coaches telling people that there's like one way to do something. And I'm like, no, don't tell them that because it's not the truth. And if that thing doesn't work for them, guess what happens in their belief system? Oh, I must suck. Oh, this must not work. And I'm like, no, you just haven't found the way that works for you. Sorry. And I want to make sure that you guys know that. And I want to make sure that you empower your coaches and your clients and the people that you help to remind them that if this doesn't work, it's okay. You're going to have something else in the briefcase to be able to pull out a different skill, a different tool to be able to help them achieve their goals, because you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Number 3.
Okay. So number 3 is to focus on the lead measure, which is clarity and focus. So there's a difference, or there's 2 different things that we measure. So there's the lag measure, which is what Marc just talked about. It's like basically that one specific goal that you have that is measurable and that is time bound. Now that is something that you're working towards, right? You have kind of like that milestone you want to get to. So that's the big picture. And then the lead measure are the steps that will basically take you towards that goal. Mm-hmm. It's the little things that you do, but not just like the little things, just random things. They're very, very specific. And now this is the most important thing that you might get out of this is that we're going to do this in our Coach Accelerator, and we actually did it on the call, is picking a lead measure or that specific thing that will will most likely take you to that goal. And it's something that directly gets you to that goal.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, Marc, we were working on this on our own business, and we have a specific goal, a monthly goal that we want to get to by January 1st. And we talked about with our team, what is that thing that if we focus all of our attention to is going to basically get us to that specific goal. And the thing we came up with was getting Marc on calls, basically getting him to talk to people to get onto the program. So all of the energy and all of the clarity were focused on that one specific thing, which we're doing pretty well at. But if you're not careful, you'll basically do certain things that'll get you off track.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is really key to identify for yourself, and it'll also help you with your clients. So that way they're not constantly feeling overwhelmed because they're trying to do all of these different things to get to their goal. And in reality, they could have focused on one or two things that would get them towards that goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the words themselves, the lead measure and the lag measure, there's important meaning behind that.
Yes.
A lag measure is like the goal that you want to achieve, but basically by the time you're looking at that number, it's already too late to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get to the end of the year or the end of the month, you're like, I want to make $15,000 this month. If all you do is track $15,000, like the number isn't going to change. You're going to be like, oh, it's too late for me to do anything to influence that. Mm-hmm. The lead measure is what are the things that you're doing or that you can do, 1 to 2 things that you can do that will be a predictor of what your lag measure, what your goal specifically is. Mm-hmm. So if our goal is $15,000 a month, for example, and we get together as a team, we're like, what are the 1 to 2 things that we know are the highest predictor of me actually being able to hit that goal? Well, it's getting me onto sales calls, getting me onto consultations, getting me to have a conversation with somebody. Because a lot of times I can show them what it is that they need. Sometimes it's our program, but sometimes it's not. But I'm really good at being able to take what somebody else is struggling with, what their goals are, and helping them see what the roadmap is in order to get it, and help them move any blocks that are getting in the way as a part of the process, right? And so for me, that's my skill. So I get people on sales calls. So then all of my time and attention that I spend towards my lead measures is directed into getting me on sales calls. Now, when it comes to this, we're going to talk about this in a minute. The thing that is most likely to get you, your clients, and people off track is something called the whirlwind. And what could happen is the whirlwind in your business takes over. And you start thinking that social media posts is the reason why you're not, making money, or that you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you ran out of time, or, you need a podcast, or all of these kind of things. Those are the whirlwind, the things that you think you need to do, but in reality, those aren't the things that move the needle, right? So when you think about the specific goal that you have, and I want to share with you in a minute, like a weight loss goal, because sometimes it's a little bit easier to think of. But when you have a very specific goal and you're like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, right? What most people will do, and most coaches will do, is they'll say, okay, so then that means we want to lose 2.5 pounds a week. What happens when you're focused on losing 2.5 pounds a week? Well, you're focused on the lag measure, what you want as the result to be. What are you putting in and changing on the front end? And what are you focusing on that's actually going to move that needle? This is where people do things that they shouldn't do. They try to rush it. They stop eating. They go out and they exercise for 3 hours that day. And they're wondering why they're not moving the needle. It's because they're focused on the lag measure. They're not focused on the lead measure. What if you said, you know what, for the next week, I'm going to focus on exercising this amount of time and eating this many calories? Can you see how that could, by focusing on that, give you a predictor of you hitting 2.5 pounds of weight loss this week? And guess what happens? If you don't hit 2.5 pounds, you can go, well, maybe those lead measures were not right. Or maybe there was something that I need to really think about and change to make it so that I can do that. Mm-hmm. That's why focusing on the lead measures are the most important thing of all. Now, we took people, like I said, through this process of identifying what it is. There can be 50 different lead measures, but you have to identify the things that you know based off of your strengths, your weaknesses, and the things that you can control, not the outside world, not the algorithm, what you can do to get people on to get people to sign up for your coaching, to get people to do whatever that thing is, it's going to help you achieve your goals. And being able to identify this is huge. Now, there's a part of this that you have to test, because nobody will be able to tell you what your lead measure is until you test it. So we have a bunch of coaches that are out there testing this. And I got to tell you, like, a couple of them have already reached out to me and they said, I got 2 clients already. And I'm like, well, then that's your lead measure. Let's keep doing that, because that's really the power. And for some reason, what we tend to do is we tend to like take our foot off the gas on that. And we look at that next shiny object and we're like, well, webinars is what's working for everybody else, so let's do workshops or webinars. And it's like, no, like, you got to focus on what is actually going to help you out. Now, let me take a little detour here, because this happens. I hear this a lot too. And that is, you see other people doing things in their business. You see other people using a lead measure of workshops, Facebook ads, whatever that stuff is. Remember, they're in a different spot than you. They have demand, and you haven't built that if you're just getting started. When you're in the process of like focusing on your lead measure, you have to figure out, where am I right now? If you're like, I don't have any coaching clients, but I'm going to open a group coaching program, you're probably going to open a group coaching program to one person, and it's going to really frustrate you. And it's because you don't have the demand built. You've been looking at what everybody else is doing, going, that's the easy thing. I want to do that. Guys, it's not any easier to sell a $50 program than a $500 program. As a matter of fact, I found it easier to sell a $500 program because it makes it feel like you're going to get results from it than a $50 program. You have to create demand. And if that starts by you taking on free clients and having those clients at the end of 6 weeks go, I want to keep working with you, and then getting them to pay for it. And now you're like, hey, I have a waiting list of people that I need to figure out how to get them on my schedule. And then you have a program that you open up. Think about what happens when you create that demand. That's why everybody else's lead measure might be a good indicator for you, but I don't want you to like lean into it and go, this is the one that I have to do because this is what Marc's doing, or this is what this person's doing, or this is what this person recommended. Everybody's at a different spot. We have to be willing to test it and figure it out. Like, you may find that if you have a client and they're trying to lose weight, you may find that doing exercise and working out, maybe it's their thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe their hormones are all out of whack. Maybe there's something that they're going through. Maybe there's a stressful situation. You have to be willing to adapt and try different lead measures and not say everybody has to do this, because they don't. Remember, there's not one right, best, only way to do it. We just got to make sure that we are running towards the images that we most feel compelled to do, that we have a measurable and meaningful goal with a timeline on it, and that we also focus on the lead measure, not the lag measure. Yes, I want you to keep track of those numbers, but I don't want you to be focused just on what the results is that you want. I want you to think about, what is the 1 or 2 things that I can do this week that will give me the greatest likelihood to increase my lag measure to hit my goals. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to keep committing to doing something and making adjustments along the way. And moving on to step number 4, which is really the gathering of all 3 of these steps to make sure that you can evolve through what life and your goals are trying to teach you. Now, this is step number 4. Number 4 is we make weekly commitments, and then we have what's called, we call it a WIG session, but it's a wildly important goal session to both state what you committed to doing last week, did it move your numbers or not, and what are you committing to doing next week. This is where we have like a weekly, either accountability check-in, a one-on-one call, success pod call, whatever it is that you decide to actually have. You have to have a way of helping people every single week stay out of the whirlwind. Now, I think this is a perfect time to kind of talk about that, right? So when we think about accountability, I know a lot of you guys know this because you're coaches. You ask other people to sign up for you and for accountability because you know that it's not just simply the information they need. They need to have a system in place so they can keep making the adjustments along the way. But the one thing that can hold you and your clients and really all of us back is this thing called the whirlwind. Now, you may have heard about the whirlwind before. This is when, you talk to a client, you have a plan for yourself, and then something comes up. The kids get sick. This happened at work. This stuff pulled you out of it. It's the holidays. It's I'm getting married in 6 months, so I need to prepare for it, right? It's like all of these things that are happening that are the day-to-day life. I had to take my kids to practice. I have to do this other stuff. Those are the things that have the greatest opportunity to pull you out of doing the things that you need to do to hit your goal, because they feel like, I have to do this. And the truth is you do. You have to focus on your whirlwind. If you have kids, I would suggest you feed them. I mean, ours are still in bed right now, but besides that, like I would highly suggest that you do those things, cleaning up around the house, doing all the things that you typically do, but not all of the time. That does not take up 100% of your time, because if it does, then you will talk yourself out of goals. You'll talk yourself out of doing the workout. You'll talk yourself out of having that conversation. You'll talk yourself out of impacting somebody's life forever because of your whirlwind. And your clients will too. That's why regular accountability is key and critical. Now, there's one piece that I want to share about how we actually structure these check-ins to make sure that you are structuring something very, very similar. So when your clients come, they're going to start verbalizing out loud some of the things they couldn't do, some of the things that came up, some of the things that maybe you're like, oh my, I can't believe that happened. What you cannot do as a coach is give power to the whirlwind. When they are verbalizing it, they are saying it out loud because they want to feel better. But in reality, it makes them feel worse because it feels like they're out of control. They don't have control in their life. So one of the things you want to do is, while you're having a coaching session, is you recognize what it is that they're going through and let them know that there's another level that's inside of them. There's called the level of creativity, is finding a way to make it happen anyway, because they told you those goals were important. They sat down and painted that picture. They felt where it's going to get them. They know that this is the thing that they need to lean into so they can make a huge impact in the world and with their family, to be able to live longer, play with their kids, do vacations, all of these kind of things. But then they're letting the day-to-day get in their way. Now, this is a normal part of life, and that's why people need you. They need you to be their support system, but not their support system where it's like, oh, it's okay. Let's try again next week. Because what you'll find is that'll be the same next week and next week and next week and next week. You got to come from a place of empathy, but also of helping people see how they can find a path through their whirlwind and get to actually achieving their goals so they can have what they truly want. This is what we do as coaches. We're willing to have these difficult conversations, not only with them, but with ourselves too. Because if the whirlwind is throwing you off, you need to find a way of overcoming your whirlwind before you even start helping other people through it too. It's very hard to help somebody through something that you're not willing to get some help with through too. So lean into your ability of coaching, a community, whether it's us, the Coach Accelerator, whatever it is, but find a way of navigating that whirlwind, or it will like really drown your goals out. Now, here's the truth, is when you look at your calendar and you look at 80% of the things that you do, those are whirlwind activities. Those are things like, driving places, going to work, doing the things with the kids, like all of these kind of things. Those are not going to disappear overnight. Now, you could outsource some of them and that might help a little bit, but they're still not going to disappear. You still need to do them. The 20% is where we focus on our goals. This is 1 to 2 hours, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, where you're just solely focused on your lead measure. This thing that's going to move the needle the most. Do you know what happens when you do that? It's called results. And it doesn't happen overnight, but you will realize that after you're spending that time and attention there, and you feel the confidence of what comes from you showing up and doing the things that you said you were going to do, and the confidence that comes from your clients showing up and doing the things that they said that they were going to do, is exponential. That's the best motivator in the world, is when you start taking action that's in alignment with what you said you were going to do. Then the results start coming. Then the energy and the excitement and the confidence, and then you become unstoppable. But it only happens if you're willing to find that time on your schedule, that 20% time that you can make on 2 to 3 days a week, and you really go all in with focusing on your lead measure. Knowing that the lead measure may or may not work out for you, but you're going to learn so much through the process that is going to teach you exactly what you need to learn. And that's why we have those WIG sessions, wildly important goal sessions. So we can learn what's working, let's do more of it. What's not working, let's make an adjustment. And then how can we continue to evolve and learn different skills and ways to be able to tackle this so that you never have to struggle with it again. That's why, like, when we create things, even like the Coach Accelerator, it's not just merely getting on and coaching. It's also teaching people, our clients, the skills they need to overcome the thing that they're telling us they're struggling with. So if I have a coach or a client or somebody that comes to me and is like, every week I'm struggling with this, I as a coach need to have some skills to help them. And it's not just one skill. It's like, what is a skill? Something I can teach them, something I can train them so that when I'm not here, they can go out and empower themselves to take action and get results. And that's what we do as coaches. We have to not just show them about it. Yes, that's the first part is awareness, but then what is the action that we're going to ask them to take? What are the stories or what are the thoughts that they have? What is the perspective that we can give them to get them to go out there and to take action? And we do that on a weekly basis. We can help them to see and evolve and lean into the power that they have inside of them, knowing that the whirlwind is going to throw them off sometimes. I mean, it still throws us off. We still have emergencies. We still have things that come up. It's just how quickly do you get out of the whirlwind and back into living your life that you want to create so you can create those dreams? The faster you do that, the better. And I've always found that doing it by yourself is the slowest way to do anything. And you could 100% do that. It's just going to take you a lot longer to get there. And we don't want you to have to do that if that's not something you want to do, which is literally why we put together the Coach Accelerator. Now, I know we talked about it a little bit here because we've actually taken a bonus workshop where we guided our coaches through what a wig session would look like. We took them through this whole entire process of how to actually find compelling images, how to reverse engineer that, how to find the lead and lag measure for you, but also for your clients. We gave them a worksheet so they can guide themselves and their clients through it. But this is just one of the things that you would learn by being a part of the community. So here's the thing. If it's okay with you, I'd like to actually break down a little bit about how the program works because we only have 3 more days before the program is closed for the next 6 months. Now, I know we kind of talked about this, but this is the last YouTube live workshop that we're going to have for 2025 because we're going to lean into having these workshops and trainings just for the people that are inside of the program. And while we create this beta group, we're doing it at an extremely discounted rate because we know that people need to get these results now. They don't want to wait until July and then next year and the following year. They want to take action right now. And we don't want money to be anything that would hold you back from that, which is why we were designing this in a way that is like the 12 years of my experience of coaching, really being able to lean into the multiple different coaching modalities, the things that I've learned, the people that I've taught, to give you the best of all of those strategies that I've learned so you don't have to spend 12 years doing that. Now, you could 100% do that. Go out and find different groups and programs and certifications and things for you to be a part of. But I want to give you the speed boost if that's something that you're interested in. Now, in the accelerator, we have 3, what are they called? Stages inside of the program. Each phase is 2 months. Now, for the first phase, we talk about like building up the basic skills that you need around coaching. These are a lot of the universal principles that we sometimes forget when we're not actually grounded to some of these universal principles. These are ways to ask better questions. These are ways to make sure that your client stays out of the whirlwind. These are ways and skills that you can actually help them, because when you are building a house, you don't want just a toolbox full of screwdrivers. You want to have a multitude of different skills to be able to use. And I've never been able to teach it in this format where I get to teach all of the skills that I have, not all of the skills, but the skills that make the most impact through people that I coach, because I coach fathers and husbands, coaches, executives, leaders, like police officers, like so many different people. And I have so many different things that I've learned, but I want to make sure that I give you the best of the best so you can have a foundation, so you can develop the confidence and skills you need to show up as the coach that's like on fire that you can be. So that's during the first phase. The second phase, we start to actually build some momentum and demand in your business. What I mean by that is in the beginning, you're going to have to learn some skills. You're going to have to like really understand how coaching really works. You're going to have to see different things that you're going to be able to pull out of your toolbox to be able to help your clients. When you should do something, when you shouldn't. Questions to ask, questions not to ask. Once you do that, though, we start to build what's called demand in our business. And that means you don't like launch a program and have nobody to buy. By the time you launch a program, you have people waiting for it. They're already ready to go. And it's because you've been able to create demand for what it is you do as a coach. Now, when I say demand, yes, I'm talking about in business, but I'm also talking about if you work full time and you want people at your job to have demand for what you do as a leader. Any way that you're a leader or a coach, this is going to help you build up that demand for what it is that you have and that awesome skill that you use and you're able to use in multiple different areas, including your family, your health, your business, and your career. So that is phase 2, is picking up some momentum in your business and life, really. And phase number 3 is really making sure that we can get into advanced tactics. These are things like public speaking, like teaching and training, kind of like the facilitation that I'm doing here. Now, I've taught workshops and things like that in the past, but the one thing that I have never taught before is how I facilitate group masterminds so that I am like, people see me as the expert, but yet I'm just having really great conversations with people to have everybody be able to chip in and be the best versions of themselves and like teach each other in that kind of like environment. So there's a lot of other things I'm going to be teaching, like speaking on stage, all those kind of things. But this is the advanced part. This is the last 2 months. And if you are like fully committed to doing this, you have to implement the full 6 months to be able to get the best of everything that we're teaching in here. Because this is a 6-month program. I don't want you to join and think that the first month you're going to learn how to speak on stage, because you're not ready for that, even if you have a certification or not. You're really not. You have to understand some of the principles and philosophies. Maybe even your certification didn't teach you, but some of those underlying things to make sure that you're on a solid foundation. From there, then we can start to get a little bit fancy and we can start to build the second floor and start to put the decorations in, which is what Teresa is all about. All right. But we have to build the ground floor and we have to build ourselves up first. These are the 3 phases that we're going to be leaning into. Now, the first call is on January 4th. After the first call, you cannot become a member of this team. We're going to have 6 months of focus from me and Teresa, weekly calls on Zoom, not only teaching, but getting you to take action on it, feedback from it, practical exercises, worksheets so you can help you and your clients. And this is not just for people who have never coached. This is from all ranges of levels of coaches. These are from people who are just getting started. They've had an inkling of becoming a coach and maybe they just don't know any of the philosophy behind it and they want to be able to help people. Everybody has to be heart-centered, by the way, wanting to make a bigger impact. If you're just here to make money, we're not the program for you. Yes, you're going to make some money, but you're going to make it as a result of you impacting people's lives. So we want to make sure that we only call it to heart-centered coaches. But it's from getting started to people who have been certified, not been certified, to people who are master level, to people who are just wanting to learn, to grow, to have different skills that they can lean into so that they can change the world forever. So that they know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, the person that they're about to have a conversation with, they're going to be able to help. And they have 42 other tools, and they have master coaches and people who are at the whim to be able to help them if they ever get stuck. That's what we're going to be doing over the 6-month period of time. Now, when it comes to the investment, I want to share a little bit with you right now. The investment for this program moving forward is going to be $6,000 for 6 months. That means it's going to be $1,000 a month. But what we're doing right now for just this time is, because we're putting this out as a beta program, we're only allowing 25 people to be a part of this program. And because of that, we're actually doing it at 50% off. Meaning, as long as you sign up, you're going to be doing it for $500 a month for 6 months. Now, here's the thing. We want you to commit to all 6 months. We want you to be willing to lean in, to ask for help when you need it, to share your wins and lessons along the way. You have to be willing to go all in, because what you're going to give us is incredible testimonials where your life has been changed forever. And when you can do that, that's going to be so valuable to us. We're going to do whatever we can to meet you there, to be able to help you out in any way that we can to be able to achieve that. But that's what we're doing in 2025. We're putting all of our chips into helping you achieve more impact and income than you've ever made before. And we're going to be doing that in a variety of different ways, including adding some one-on-one calls to actually to help you through anytime that you're struggling with your whirlwind, and so many other things to help guide you along that path. So that's what we have for you. I will share the link because I've been talking so much. I'll share the link with you if you're interested in grabbing a spot. Just know that if you're watching this video and you go there and that link is no longer enabled, it's because we've hit our 25 people and we don't have any more spots, because I want to be very specific about having a small group of people who are willing to be challenged, willing to see things differently, willing to learn new things. And if that's not you, you can sign up for the waiting list. And then sometime in July, we'll talk about our next round. But it will not be at that discounted rate. I just want to make sure about that. Some questions that people may ask is, when are the calls? So what we've decided to do is we're going to have the calls on Saturday mornings, because we know that a lot of people in our community, they work full time, or they're doing things during the week, and they want to make sure that they can, in the morning time on Saturday, get in, learn what they need to learn, and then go have family time. So we're doing our calls at 7 a.m. Pacific time, which is 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturdays. You're going to have 4 calls a month. If there's a 5th Saturday, you're going to have that day off. And then as an added bonus for people, actually for the next 10 people who sign up, you're going to get 3 bonus one-on-one calls with Teresa throughout that 6-month period of time. So anytime you're struggling with something related to coaching, something related to your whirlwind, something about intentionality, something related to clarity, you feel stuck, anything like that at all, you're going to be able to reach out and have a one-on-one call while you go through that process. And that does not cost anything extra. It's $500 a month for this entire program. All right. Any other questions that people might have? I thought I had written some down.
I think you covered it all.
Okay.
I mean, if there's anybody on the live that has some questions, we'd love to hear from you.
Oh yeah. And actually one thing, I know a lot of you guys, we have a lot of people who are here, who are in the Accelerator. I would love to hear from anybody who's in the Accelerator. What would you tell someone who might be interested in joining the program right now, but maybe is a little bit hesitant about jumping in? I'd love to hear from some of you guys. Like, what would you tell someone? Because you're in the inside, you see what we've already have put together for you, and you see the plan moving forward. What would you tell someone who's thinking about joining?
Can I just talk about how excited I am to get to give people one-on-ones during the program?
Cool.
So what we're going to do is it's a 20-minute call that you'll have access to. So there'll be a total of 3 for the 6 months. So, you can spread it out, or you could do it one after the other, one maximum a month. But I'm excited about this because whenever you're doing a group program, like sometimes that's because that's all you can do right now. You have to do a group program. You can't do a one-on-one. But even though it's like a 20-minute call, I think that being so laser focused, and even after, you do the bonus call and you actually do identify like what your wildly important goal is, what your lead measures are, what you're going to be focusing on, just like Marc said, life is going to get in the way, or, you're going to think life is going to get in the way. But I think that having that one-on-one is going to be critical to be able to sit down, personalize it, and make sure that we focus on the things that can move you towards your goals, and make sure that you don't fall into that whirlwind, because once you fall in there, it's really hard to get out. And once you do that first thing and you identify what you can do to get you the best results and set you up for success, that's going to be that call.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Two real quick things I want to call out to make sure that you are fully all in with before you decide to join up. So I put the links in here. And I'll read what Tina and Cheryl said. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll leave the links that are in here. You'll see the first link. It's modernleadership.us/accelerator. So if you've never been a part of our app, that's the link for you to click. If you have been a part of our app, meaning you're inside of our free book club or something like that, you can go to modernleadership.us/accelerate. And as long as you open that up in a browser, you're going to be able to log in. You'll be able to see that you have access to this as long as it's still active. All right. Now, real quick thing. Number one is if you commit to this, you have to be willing to do something different. So a lot of people have been thinking that what I'm doing right here is something similar to what I have done before. I have never done this before. I have never had a one-stop shop where I get to teach you everything that I need to teach you to grow a successful business, but also to develop more confidence that you've ever had in coaching and helping people get results in their life than you've ever had. This is not something that I have ever done. So that being said, you have to be willing to lean in and to learn new ways of doing things. Remember, there's not one right, best, only way to do anything. It's the combination of all the things that we can grab onto, that we can learn, that we can lean into, that helps make us the type of coach that when we get on a call, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we can help them. And it's the confidence that we give them when we're coaching them. And if you don't have that level of confidence, it's going to be very hard for you to get them to sign up, for you to get them to take action, for you to get them to keep showing up, because it's just something that you have to have yourself first before you can give to someone else. And that's what we're going to be helping in the program. But you have to be willing to learn new things, not just keep doing the same things that you've been doing over and over and over again, but be willing to lean in and learn something new. That's the first thing. Second thing is I have actually opened up my schedule for the next 2 days to take calls from anybody who is interested in joining or thinking about joining or seeing if this is a good fit for them. Here's the thing, there's not going to be a perfect time for anything. I was actually just reading this today in the John Maxwell book. So we're reading John Maxwell's book inside of our book club. And what he said is there's people in life who go out and they try to look for the circumstances to be perfect before they take action. He's like, that's not what successful people do. What successful people do is they live in their circumstances and they find a way to make it happen anyway. That's what I want to make sure that you know is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how many things you have going on, all of those kind of things, because anytime that you give power to them, you speak them out loud, they're going to have control over you. And it's going to be much harder for you to take any kind of action, especially anything that's different. But even if like this isn't for you, you're like, I really don't like Marc and his energy, or Teresa or whatever, she talks too much. Like, I want you to at least find someone who's going to help you do something different. What you don't want to do is more of the same. Okay. It's trying to teach you a lesson, trying to find a different way of doing that. And I want you to tap into that, because that is where your true potential is. If I can help you with that, I'm 100% on board. Now, like I said, next 2 days, I have free opportunity to jump on a call with me. So if you're somebody who's interested in whether it's coming up with a plan for the new year, or you're somebody who's like, I'm just really interested in this, I'm not sure if it's a good fit for where I am in my business, I want you to send me an email. My email address is marc@modernleadership.us. Don't send it to me 3 days from now. Send it to me right now. Like literally, open up your email program, send me a message saying, hey, when can we jump on? I want to have a conversation with you. Whether it's on Marco Polo, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on Zoom, I don't care. I've literally cleared my schedule for the next 2 days to make sure that I can make some space so that I can have conversations to talk about this program. Because once it's closed, it's closed. You come next week or 3 weeks from now and you're like, I really want to do this. I'm going to have to say no, because there's a process that we need to take you through from the beginning all the way to the end. It would be doing you a huge disservice, and everybody in the group a huge disservice if we let you in. So you have to be willing to take action, and take action quickly. All right. So send me that email. Let's actually hear. I know some people had some questions and stuff, but also a couple of people. Tina said, I can't believe how much I've already learned, and the program hasn't even started. Yeah, Tina, we did something crazy this time, and this is something that we're going to do moving forward, and that is in the program, we actually didn't make people pay for the program yet, and it's because we don't feel good getting people to start the program and pay for it without them actually having something to do or some activity to get them started. So that's why we did last Saturday's bonus call, is because we want to make sure that we give as much value as we possibly can from the time that you join the group. So if you join the group now, you have access to all of the training that we've already done. It's not going to take you that long to go through it, but you're going to have a plan to be able to help guide yourself and guide others while you actually lean into our group. Because as a part of this group, you're actually going to have weekly accountability, where guess what? You're going to be doing your wig sessions in front of us every single Friday. What? Yes, we're going to do what we're practicing and getting other people to do too, because you will be amazed at how quickly the results you get. Like I said, people have already messaged me and said they've gotten 2 new clients just from having this conversation a couple days ago. It's really powerful when you can do that, when you can lean into that level of accountability. Cheryl says, nothing changes in your business if nothing changes. And Coach Accelerator is a massive change towards that you need to run towards. Thank you for that, Cheryl. Thank you for that. And that is a amazing quote that I constantly read every single day, right? For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. And if you want something different, you have to do something different. And we're not saying that we are the only different thing out there, but you have to figure out a way of what is something different that you're going to lean into, that you need to take you to the next level. Now, I want to say this. Everything that you've done up to this day has been important and has been meaningful, and it's gotten you to where you are. So I also don't want you to think about like all the things you have done have been a waste. Do you know how many programs and products and mentorship and one-on-one calls? I mean, literally we paid like a couple of weeks ago, like $5,000 for one call with somebody because we knew it was going to be so important and powerful. But when you think about the collection of all those things and everything that we learned to get to where we are today, it's a beautiful thing, but it's also like you have to be willing to do something different and take that next step, right? And that always feels uncomfortable. It always feels like maybe I'm getting into the wrong room. And like I always say, that's just evidence that you're getting into the right one. Mike says, I know for me, I've grown in the past 6 to 9 months more than I ever had before, learning how my subconscious mind works and made all the difference. 100%. We're going to be talking a lot about that inside the Accelerator, is how the subconscious mind works and how it can very easily keep you trapped, but also keep your clients trapped. And you've got to help them become aware of it, but then also come up with a plan to help them rewrite that, right? Aaron says, so much clarity after the calls on Saturday. My squirrel brain is really focused on the path we have chosen for me to get my goals. Clarity has always been my biggest struggle, but not anymore. Yes, Aaron, this is really something I've gotten a couple different people having this conversation. That is like, Marc, I love that there isn't a tracker with 19 different activities on it, because that, my friends, is the whirlwind. When we think about the things that move the needle the most, and we think about like being laser focused on those, it's not that you have to do a million things. Some of the things you will have to do, like as you grow a business, you might have to have a team. You might have to have a Kurt. You might have to have an Aaron. You might have to have a Teresa. You're not going to have a Teresa because she's mine. But anyway, like you've got to find and grow into that, but it doesn't start there. That's where you grow into, right? It starts by you focusing on the things that move the needle the most. And the more clear you can be and the more focused on less activities, the better. All right. Are all the calls on Saturdays? Yes, all the calls are on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Time. Let's see. Tiffany says, thanks for not charging an arm and a leg. Yes, Tiffany. And Tiffany, to be honest, we are going to be charging an arm and a leg because that's how powerful the program is. But whenever we put something new together like this, especially a beta program, we know there's a lot of people who've like learned things in the past from us. And we know that we can really help them take it to the next level. We want to do whatever we can to make money, not the barrier, right? We know still it's $500 a month. And some people are going to be like, I really wish that I can do this. And I'm going to be like, well, find something else to do so that you're not just keep doing the same thing over and over again, because know what will cost you more? Not doing anything different. Not doing anything different will cost you a lot more than $500 a month. It'll cost you millions of dollars if you would have gotten to that point where you're able to lean in and develop and be that kind of coach, right? And so really being able to think about this in terms of like, what are you going to do if that's not the case, right? What is something different that you're going to have to lean into, right? And yes, the price is going to be going up and it's going to be worth every single penny, but we want to do whatever we can in the beginning to help as many people as we can in this new year. So don't say that don't think that it's going to be $500 a month. That's for sure moving forward. Let's see. All right, guys. I appreciate you for you guys' time. I appreciate you for leaning in. I also want to make sure that you keep the universal principles that we talked about today in mind. All right. So whether you join us or not, whether you become a part of this program or join another person's program or do whatever it is, I want to make sure that you do have these universal principles in mind because they are so important. How you do that, that's something that we can teach you inside of the program. But how you do that can also be something related to how you do it. All right. And it's begin with the end in mind. Help your client figure out what they truly want. You have to ask them the right questions and you have to eliminate any of their voices that are telling them that they can't have it or the filter that they have that's going to try and prevent them from living that ideal potential life. All right. So begin with the end in mind. Help them come up with some type of measurable and important goal to them, right? Have a timeline that's associated with it and keep the timeline to no more than 3 months. Number 3 is help them identify the lead measures, the 1 to 2 things that they can focus their time and attention on, that if they focus on, it is a predictor that will help them achieve their goals. And then number 4 is set up some type of weekly accountability for them to see where they're going, to see what their commitments are, to see if they're moving the needle, if they're not moving the needle, if they need some adjustments, if they need some help to stay out of the whirlwind. Making sure that you have that for them is how you help them achieve their goals. But don't forget that you doing that for yourself is the most powerful gift that you can give to someone else. If you don't have those 4 things, you need to find a way to get them. Otherwise, it's going to be so much harder for you to get them to believe in themselves, for you to get them to believe that the hard work is worth it if you're not willing to do it yourself too. So find that environment, find that place. I know you're going to completely crush it in 2025. And if we can help you, jump in, join the Accelerator. We'll be super pumped to have you on the team. All right. All right, guys. Thank you guys very much for what you do out there every single day. The world needs more heart-centered coaches like you. People are out there waiting for you to come across their newsfeed. They need help. They've just been either writing off goals like they're never going to be possible because they haven't succeeded in the past. And all they need is a new way to be able to do it. All they need is you to come across their newsfeed and to believe in them and to have a plan for them and to show them the structure that they need and call them forward. Most people aren't willing to do that. It's a good thing you're not most people. Thank you for leaning in. Thank you for being a modern leader. And we'll see you guys really, really soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.